Station.
Welcome to the land of long-lived play, where greatness is always waiting. Welcome to the PlayStation Experience. I'm one of your hosts, Delvin Cox, and with me, as always, is the Platinum Princess herself, Miss Haley Nicole Miller. How you doing, Haley?
Platinum number 54.
That is an answer.
Woot woot! Cheers! 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 Woot woot!
You're not going to say nothing yet, Snurts. Follow the rules, goddammit.
Garbage truck on fire.
Also with us, joining us, as always, the Lord and Savior of PSXP, Snurts. How you doing, sir?
Now that I have permission to talk, I am doing well. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for following the rules. You know,
I'll try
we
to
have
remember
law
next
order
time.
here. Have
I'll
to
make
have
a
law
post-it
and order on
note.
this podcast. Not like those other shows we have on PSFG.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation will lead the way in a organized, consistent experience on the Play Some Video Games Network.
Yes, we will be the leaders in the
Uh-huh.
organization. All right, let's get to it. Haley, how's your week been?
Stressful.
Regale us with your tales of watching TV.
Oh, it's more than that. Hi, I had to go to Milton for work twice.
The fuck is a Milton? Is that a Simpsons character?
Joker's cousin, Milton.
Might as well be. So, Milton is an area up by Toronto. It's like 40 minutes from Toronto. I had to count a warehouse.
Sounds like fun.
Was not. So we were the farthest team out. It took us an hour and 15 minutes to get there in the morning, and then 3 to get back at night because, you know,
Oof.
traffic.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Now, do you think the other teams did any of the work? No. It was all St. Catharines, and there were 4 of us. 4 of us.
That's
Yeah,
not
a lot
good,
of their
is it?
guys. Pardon?
so that's not good, is it?
No, a lot of the other teams would just get up, walk around, and do whatever, whereas we would just sit there and do what we're supposed to. So that was frustrating. Anyways, it was supposed to be a 4-day count. We only did 2 because when we left on day 2, they ended up finishing right after we left. So that was all right. And then Thursday rolled around. Now, I don't think I've told people that I've changed the way I take my medication. I no longer take pills. I have to inject myself every week now. I was out of my injections, so I needed to buy it on Thursday, which happened to coincide with payday. Now, I normally get paid at 3:31 a.m. on the dot. Hi. What time do you think I got paid?
3:32 a.m. on the dot.
I was going to say that too.
Goddamn right.
3:33. I'm assuming it was much later.
5 minutes ago.
Oh, it was over 12 hours later.
Yeah, that's not cool.
I did not get paid until 5:31 p.m. I do not know why the 1 happens, by the way. Like, it's just the way my bank does deposits. It's never like on like an even. It's like on like 31 or it's weird. Regardless.
King of the banks.
You know, I wake up, check my account, none of that's in there. So I'm like emailing my boss. Now my boss had been on vacation and he had just come back. So we hadn't taken the auto reply off his email yet. So I emailed my boss, got an auto reply. I was like, okay, let me email the next in line. Oh, he's on vacation now too. email the guy from Hamilton, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, I think your boss is back from vacation this week, but yes, the whole company is aware. Nobody's been paid.
No,
We
at least they
are,
weren't just picking on you.
yeah, we're working on it.
We're equally fucking everyone. Don't worry about it.
Don't
We
worry,
We
everybody's
promise you,
taking it.
Haley, this is not a trans thing this time. All the other
Right.
times, maybe.
Yeah.
This time,
Yeah.
no. We're equally screwing over everyone.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nothing to
Equal
worry about here.
amounts, lube and
So that
penetration
was-
for everybody.
That was 7. That was like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, right? So I'm like, okay,
Uh-huh.
well, they're working on it. Okay, I received my pay stub, not the check, the pay stub at noon. When they originally sent out the email that like, hey, we're
Okay,
working
that's
on
funny.
it. We're working on it. We'll get to you. Like, we'll get it fixed by end of day, no later. I was like, okay, cool. Why do I have my pay stub but not my money?
Now, that is funny. They're like, that's like, we're going to send you what you got so you know you have money, but we're not going to send you the actual money.
Okay, so the reason
mean-
this stressed me out, by the way, is because now that I do injections, it's once a week, right? So like, it like slow releases throughout the week. Well, I was getting progressively angrier throughout the day, and the pharmacy closes at 7, right?
Okay.
I have to walk there. So I got paid at 5:30 and had to rush my ass to the fucking pharmacy to buy my medication so that I could take it.
And
That
it's
sucks.
like a big walk, I'm assuming, like a mile
It's a
away.
half-hour
or-
walk.
Half-hour walk? Okay. All right,
I
so you
live
have
downtown. The
you have, like-
pharmacy is over by my dad's house, which is
Uber.
not downtown.
right, but you're dealing with multiple deadlines right now. You have like, when am I going to get paid versus when
I'm
is
not
the
paying
pharmacy
a
closing?
$16 Uber to then pay $50 for medication.
Hey,
Actually, sorry, at that point it was $83 for medication because I had to buy 2. I had to buy my blocker and the vial that I inject myself with.
it's
It was $83
$16, which would have been well worth it to you to get there on time and be safe. Instead
I
of
made it.
walking like a
I made
maniac.
it to the pharmacy. I was speed walking. And then I felt nauseous when I got home because it was 87 degrees.
I was going to say, did you at
Christ.
least bring yourself some enhanced water for your job?
No,
out
she
in
did
the
not.
sun?
No.
Jesus
I-
Christ.
No. I was gonna do groceries after I came home and did my injection. Yeah, that didn't happen. I did groceries after work the next morning. So
I
yeah,
wonder why.
it
'Cause
was.
you damn near
that was
almost
stressful.
killed yourself.
Yes, I did almost kill myself. Not like intentionally though. But
No.
what have I been watching this week? Just the fucking Arrowverse. I finished Arrow season 4, The Flash season 2, Legends of Tomorrow season 1, and Supergirl season 1. So now I can move on to the next seasons when I eat later. And
Kelly?
then yes,
Just for the audience, how many episodes is each season of these shows? Just let them know how crazy you are.
okay. Supergirl and Legends are different, but generally most of these shows have 23 episodes a season.
And how many minutes each episode is, Haley?
40 to 45 minutes.
She watched all those shows
Yeah.
first season in the span of how long, Haley?
I only watch those shows when I eat, so just to let people know. Hi, I can't breathe through my nose, so a standard dinner of like meat and potatoes takes me 3 hours. I can't
Jesus
breathe through
Christ.
my nose.
So what do you do when you go to dinner with someone? It's a
don't.
3-hour dinner?
I don't go to dinner with people. I don't like eating in front of other people because I essentially have to chew with my mouth open. Because hi, my dumb ass walked into a parking meter when I was 4. Fucking hospital wouldn't fix it, considered it cosmetic, even though I couldn't fucking breathe through my nose. So I haven't been able to breathe through my nose since I was 4. So
That Canadian healthcare system, boy.
I was gonna
It's
say-
really
hi,
not-
fun fact. My dad called an American hospital. Yeah, they wouldn't do it either. So you can't blame it on Canadian healthcare this time.
Is
No,
it
the
just the
Can-
nature
Canucks
of
did it
the
this time.
circumstances, the injury?
I genuinely don't know. I have a coworker who experienced the same thing. We're both looking into getting it fixed now. Coworker did not walk into a parking meter. Coworker just has the same issue where they can't breathe. But
Okay.
yeah, this is why I don't like eating in front of other people. So, but yes.
Now, if this followed cartoon logic, you would just have to run into another parking meter, and then it would fix everything.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That usually
anyways,
works. Or you can do the thing like Skeletor did and just take off your nose.
So answer Delvin's question. The only difference is that Supergirl season 1 has 20 episodes and Legends each season, except for the last, only has 16. So
we're still talking like 20 episodes times, we'll just say 40 minutes an episode. That's like 800 minutes.
Now you see my point?
I rewatch each of these shows every year, just so we're clear.
You got like a part-time job watching CW.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the network's dead now, so yeah. Well, not dead yet, but they've got 10 episodes of Superman and Lois coming, and then it's dead, basically.
What network's dead?
I know.
No, I said, what network's dead? CW?
CW is gone. Yeah.
They sold to Nextstar, and now it's all reality TV.
So what? Oh, so okay, I got what you're saying. Because I'm like, they're bringing a wrestling program over there now. NXT is going to be on CW from now on, starting in October.
I know, but that's what I mean. It's all reality TV or like unscripted content.
The scripted show part of CW is dead.
Yeah, the stuff that I watch CW for is dead. So yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like
drama.
The channel is still there. It's just under like different management now.
I thought it was a thing where like it just changed completely to like a whole new name or something like that.
No. Well, I mean, the last time that happened, it went from the WB to CW. So
correct. That's what I was trying to figure. Like, is it changing names again?
But no. Essentially, like the new owner wants an older audience. Like, instead of like the young adult to like 30, 35 area, they want like 55 onwards watching it.
And
like,
they picked NXT to pick up and buy.
Hey man, I don't make the fucking rules. Anyways,
that is not for an older audience.
Here's what else I've been playing so that Donnie doesn't kill us all. Hi, Platinum number 54, Elden Ring.
Very nice.
Good job.
Fucking did it.
I beat it through Haley now. Osmosis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What's your next game you're going to beat through osmosis? Elden Ring?
Star Wars Outlaws.
Now I'll actually play that one.
There you go.
I know he's going to play Star Wars Outlaws because I'm playing Star Wars Outlaws. I've also, I platinumed the Elden Ring. There's no trophies for the DLC, which I do own and can play. But probably gonna take a break before I do that because that's Elden Ring's pretty much all I've been playing. I played some Cyberpunk this week just as a little bit of break. I just did a couple side mission type things. It's still fun. I still need to beat Phantom Liberty. And then I was taking some screenshots in Assassin's Creed Odyssey before we started recording. So that's what I've been doing.
Okay, that's not too bad. Not too bad. What about you, Snurch? What you been up to?
I have been enjoying House of the Dragon on HBO Max. It's lining up. We got our final episode today for the season, and hopefully they are not disappointing with what they are teasing. They are setting up some pretty big conflicts to occur. Spoiler warning. Finally? It might be involving dragons in a house. Yeah.
Right, good.
And also, in the House of D, size does matter. So we'll see if that is going to still be the case moving forward here. And I also had a really good time. My friend Brenton from Oceanside came over, and we went and saw Deadpool Wolverine.
Good. I'm glad you brought this up. Someone's in fucking trouble. You know who you are, and you know what you fucking did.
What'd I do?
Pay me, bitch! Not you. Delvin knows who's in trouble. I already texted him about it.
Yes. Someone spoiled the movie for Haley.
Oh.
It wasn't me.
Well, I mean,
it wasn't Delvin. And also, I fully know who I'm telling to pay me. Can't pay me. But he knows what he did. This is not the first time he spoiled something for somebody who hasn't seen something yet.
That is
correct. You know what you did.
I mean, I hope they didn't spoil that Mulder and Scully showed up for X-Files because they're like the X-Men, right? Because they're
very funny. Yeah. No,
No, but we had a blast. I got to see it with my good buddy, and I haven't been to a certain area of LA, downtown Culver City, since the pandemic, I think, and they put some work into it. So and everybody in the theater were well behaved. They weren't clapping and cheering too much. They were laughing and not on their phone or being annoying. And I was laughing my ass off. So it was a very fun moving going experience. I thought they did a very good job of sending off the Fox universe and diving into the MCU. And I'm glad that I saw it opening weekend because, like Haley, I feel you because I was trying to dodge spoilers left and right, and I'm glad I did because I was genuinely surprised multiple times in the viewing. And I hope people can have a similar experience, despite apparently it's like 72 hours later, you can just post like the entire cast list and all this other fucking nonsense.
Yeah. People are spoiling everything.
It sucks. It really does.
I can mitigate that on Twitter with them.
Yes.
That lasts however long, but I can't mute Delvin's son texting me, "Hey, I'm so happy this specific." I cannot mitigate Delvin's son texting me, "Hey, I'm so happy this character is back," and I'm like, "Hey, bud, I haven't seen it yet because I have a job."
Yes,
that's okay. I told my friend that there was a Joe Biden appearance, and he got all pissed at me. And I was like, man, I tried to make like my dumb jokes so obviously dumb and not going to happen that there's no way in hell.
I can't even tell you why that joke is funny without spoiling the fucking movie. Because I know what you're talking about.
Well, no, just in general, like I was just like, who's something ridiculous that would never show up, right? Like you would never have a sitting president show up like in a current movie like this. And so then my friend came back. He's like, "Oh, you were fucking with me. I didn't realize you were fucking with me." And I was like, "This is why, like,
you say that like Kamala Harris didn't appear at the fucking Marvel Hall H panel for fucking San Diego Comic-Con."
Yeah, but that's different. That's like press and whatnot. I'm talking about like in a movie.
In the movie.
In like
the actual movie.
As a president, if I saw somebody in a movie, I'm like, you're supposed to be working. You're not supposed to be doing this movie shit.
there's one cocksucker I'm quite sure would probably show up in a movie if he could.
Oh, absolutely.
Home Alone.
That piece of shit would 100% show up in a movie.
Yeah.
That's okay. Sure. Speaking of pieces of shit, did we see the fucking... This is unrelated and a fucking tangent, but I do need to get this out because I need somebody else to laugh about it with me. I guess RFK Jr. just decided that he was going to fucking admit live on television that he ran over a bear and was going to eat it, but left it in Central Park instead?
Oh, so there's some good meat in Central Park then.
Yeah. I mean, are you eat a dog? Why not eat a bear?
I guess he answers the question for us all that people have been asking. Was it the man or the bear?
Yeah. I mean,
he literally went for the bear.
he did go for the bear. I mean, it's better than going for your fucking couch.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm listening to a podcast. They're doing like a 4-part series on him. He is such a weird fucking.
Yeah.
No, not JD Vance. Fuck him.
RFK Jr.
RFK Jr.
Fucking weird.
Okay. I wasn't sure. We mentioned a lot of weirdos, so I just wanted to make sure I had the right one in my brain.
They're all fucking weird, and they're upset about being called weird, but they're all fucking weird.
No, but RFK Jr. is a trip, right?
He's a trip. Like, he's an interesting, fascinating dude.
Hey, man, I had part of my brain eaten by a worm, but I'm okay. I should be in the fucking White House. Dude, no.
Yeah. He's a fascinating dude, to say the least. I didn't know half of the stuff I knew about him. He's, like, weird. Like, he has, like,
everything I've learned against that man has been against my will. I did not ask.
Yes.
The only way that's acceptable if he brings out the hawk and he goes, Silverhawks.
No, he's done a lot of things with the hawk. Apparently he was like went to college with the hawk and shit like that, and the hawk would like live in the dorm with him and it would shit everywhere. Yeah, he's a weird dude.
You have a bird of flight living with you in your college dorm, and I'm gonna guess you're not letting it out, so of course it's shitting everywhere.
Yes.
Also,
he would feed the hawk roadkill.
Roadkill.
Oh, good.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
What a fucking guy, dude.
Yeah.
So, anything else you've been playing, Snurts?
Yeah, I've been playing some video games. Also, when hanging out with my good old friend Brenton, we played Street Rage Couch Co-op, and man, I love that. I don't get to do that too often. Online play is fine; it's enjoyable, but there's something special about for me playing a brawler with online co-op, or not online co-op, sorry, couch co-op. And we were having a blast doing the simulator ones where you get the random levels and enemy types generated. So that was a lot of fun. And we were they have this situation where if one of the characters dies and the other finishes the round, you have a chance to revive them. And we had a very funny moment. At least it was for us at the time. And he's like, "Don't worry, bro, I got this." And charges one of the fat guys, and the fat guys just open palm smacks him to death. So like it was just kind of fun having those interactive moments with a friend. And then I finished the main story for Horizon Forbidden West, and now I'm on to the DLC. I very much enjoyed the final set piece. They did make it kind of pay off for everything that they were setting up. Everybody was contributing. It felt very fitting. I still kind of very lukewarm about the plot overall. It's serviceable. It's fine. I got nothing really against it, but it doesn't really.
It's the Hunger Games catching fire problem, is what I describe it as. It's the middle part of a trilogy.
There you go. That could be it. And it just felt like it was hitting on a lot of the same similar patterns as the first game, and then also teasing the one. So like very much like you were saying there, Haley, with being in the middle of it. But it's still a gorgeous game.
I like Catching Fire.
Well, I'm not calling Catching Fire a bad movie, nor am I calling Forbidden West a bad game. I love both. What I am saying is that people's criticism of the story is essentially the problem that most trilogies run into, and specifically in the middle, is that it feels like the story doesn't move forward enough, but it also ends up hitting on the same beats per se. So it's just like people feel the story doesn't move forward fast enough.
Makes sense.
That's
well, for me, it's just very generic, and there's nothing wrong with generic. It is a standard sci-fi like post-apocalyptic story of rebirth and whatnot, and trying to prevent the next apocalypse, and that's totally fine. I did have a little moment where I was like, wow, like I'm playing this game, I'm like, we have everything but like a lava level for this. We have such a diverse game, environment to go through. And then I start playing the DLC, and I'm like, and there's the lava everywhere. There's the lava right there.
Now it's been long enough. Hello, Yarden. I'm giving people a warning, but I'm not mincing words this time. I am saying the name of the character. What did you think about Varl's death?
Oh yeah, I mean it's good. I'm glad they had somebody kick the bucket, because it did show some kind of like stakes to the overall story. But as far as like being emotionally attached or upset, and I was not. I was just like, oh, that's a bummer.
Hey, Melvin, do we have the soundboard incorrect buzzer right now? Do we have the soundboard incorrect buzzer right now?
I wish
because that fucking death pisses me off. That's literally like that death is so fucking stupid. It should have been Aaron that fucking kicked the bucket.
Okay,
I agree. It should have been.
But they were setting up like he had bigger stakes. They were like the girlfriend.
I'm wondering if you understand why I'm saying it should have been Aaron, because what I'm saying, I get why they killed Varl. That death pissed me off because it's token white saviorism again.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch.
They killed the black guy.
Yeah,
kill us.
I mean,
they killed the black guy, and literally left like 2 white people, actually more than 2 white people, to save the world.
Oh, we need to recap the CW. Donnie's here.
No, I am Donnie. Donnie tuned in to not hear it.
Donnie wants to hear it.
You came in just in time, Donnie. They're talking about killing white people. That's what Haley started off with.
No, we're talking about the token black guy dying.
That's my biggest criticism with Forbidden West, is they did the token white savior thing. Honestly, it's like it should have been Aaron that fucking died.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that, and I just figured because he had the girlfriend and they developed him more as an emotional character with deeper connections is why they offed him. It's the same thing where like I'm 2 days away from retirement. I have my pregnant wife at home. But I'm going to go on this one last mission, boss, and everything will be okay once this mission is done. And then like 2 minutes into the mission, the dude's like stepping on a landmine or getting hit by it, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Anyways, it's Donnie's comment is very fucking funny because when he said race wars, I wasn't thinking like the actual race wars. I was thinking race wars from fucking Fast and Furious.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't pick up on that. I get the angle, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't rub me the wrong way, but
It
I
did feel
also
cheap to me.
it did.
Like,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It felt a little cheap. Like, why kill him? Like, you have to kill that.
Also, it's like it's very funny that like all of them are open, but they go for him, the guy who can actually defend himself. Like Beta, wide open, could have been fucking killed, which
Sure.
wouldn't make sense because like they're like introducing Beta as a character, but like you can have characters there that fit the bill of like heavy emotional death, but it just feels cheap to kill the black guy. Like.
Yeah, okay. Yep, fair. I did not pick up on that, but it's
You know what's so
completely
fucking
valid.
funny? I can't even remember that character's fucking name. I can't remember that character's fucking name. I can remember that line.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm just enjoying it. Also, I feel like
Thank you.
I should have waited for the flying mount before doing most of this side exploration stuff. I
agree.
I was really trying to like find all these ways to get up all these various vertical puzzles, and then they're like, hey, guess what? Now you get a flying mount. And I'm sure if I would have paid attention to like the promo and the screenshots, I know I've seen Aloy flying before, and I was just so like just annoyed. I was like, wait, I spent like 20 minutes trying to climb this tower, and instead I'm just like, whistle, mount, let's go up, and I'll just glide down and figure it out.
That's how it works.
You know what's so funny? If you were to start New Game Plus, they don't take that ability away from you, so you essentially could just break the fucking traversal system because you can fly.
Oh yeah. Right, you need to find
Goddamn
those lenses in the first section. You could just fly like lens, got it. And I do like that they keep adding to the collectibles, like the Oktoberfest orb was really neat, and then you go back to Vegas and you see like hot dogs and beers and pretzels, and I'm like, that's my kind of holiday, yeah. So I've been having a lot of fun with that, and I'm honestly just kind of taking my time with it. I don't really want it to end. One, because I don't know what game I want to play next, and two, I just really enjoy just randomly trying to collect upgrades for the weapons and gear. I wish it was a little bit easier. I get very annoyed trying to find the right item to upgrade my legendary gear, and
Like,
when you're looking for like Apex Snake and you can't find the goddamn Apex version and you're flying all over the goddamn map, it's a little annoying.
I can tell you where to find the Apex Snake.
Yeah, no, there's a few spots. There's the one that's in like the San Francisco area up to the top that's more likely to be one, but
one always spawns right outside of the the village that's essentially made from the solar panels. One always spawns right outside there.
Yeah, but it has to be the Apex version.
Yes.
So like I've had
at night,
times...
it's always the Apex variant. If you go at night, it's always the Apex variant.
Oh. See, well then why if I'm there during the day, why is it not what is it, a vampire? It turns Apex at night?
No,
like
it's sleeping in the daytime.
It's for whatever reason the Apex variants have a higher chance to spawn at night. I don't know why that is, but it's usually always an Apex variant of any monster if you go to like a designated spawn site during the night.
Okay, so it's like Batman. I'm only Apex at night. I cannot go out during the day.
Correct.
I am vengeance. I am the night. Yeah,
but only at night.
No, that's my only other.
It's because we're family. There you go. That's your Fast and Furious. That's your.
I ain't got friends. I got family. Yeah.
Sorry, I'll drink a Corona next time.
Anyways, my only other complaint with Forbidden West is the upgrading because it's completely different than it was in the first game. I hate they lowered the cap on like arrows that aren't basic, like your fire arrows or whatnot. Like those used to be able to go up to 60 as well. 30 like 6 is the limit now. It's so fucking like annoying.
Yeah, I just in general upgrading gear has been a pain in the ass, and you're in a fight and you're like, you think you hit the tail to get the component, but I guess you didn't hit right in the right spot, even though it's the component removed. And then it's
you can turn that off.
And you don't even like really need too much of the upgrades. Like I was only kind of upgrading gear because I wanted something else to do after completing most of the side missions and collectibles. I still do not have the God of War faceplate because I tried that for a few minutes, got frustrated, and moved on. But I it's kind of a neat little thing, but I don't know if I care so much about it. But again, it's just I am having a blast, like getting into these fights with these robots, regardless of what your gear is at, is very, very entertaining.
On
Getting
your
for-
thing about like components being destroyed, uh, there's a setting in accessibility to turn that off. I think it's only available on lower difficulties, but like you can set it so that like wherever you kill the enemy, components aren't destroyed.
Yeah, I don't care because I think that's part of the challenge, and that's what they were setting up. And I just, it just makes me not want to necessarily do the grind when you kill 2 or 3 of the same kind of creature, and you're not getting the component that you need to upgrade the weapon or gear that you're trying to upgrade. It doesn't mean the encounters aren't fun. I mean, that's the thing too. Like I also forgot about this whole arena thing, and I started going back there and playing those arena matches. And once like I did have my gear up to a certain point, they were actually attainable to win. And then I go to like the rewards booth, and I'm like, well, these bows suck. I don't care. Moving on. It would almost be nice if like somehow you could customize and like create your own armor and weapons and put the attributes that you would like on there. Like, do you want to focus on tear or elemental damage of some kind? But regardless of these critiques, like these are very minor nitpicking. I'm having a blast with the game. And, maybe, just maybe by the next time we record, I'll have something new to talk about.
Actually, I have one more question for you.
Sure. Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the reveal that Tilda makes about Elizabeth and therefore Aloy?
Can you give me a little bit more details on
Should
that
we be
one?
talking about this?
I mean, it's been long enough. I'm pretty sure we can talk about it. It's also
Right,
literally
spoilers.
it's also literally a focal point of the DLC. So there's
yeah,
that
and I've been also skipping some of the dialogue. So
oh, okay.
I
Anyways, I wanted to know what your thoughts are on the reveal that Elizabeth, and therefore because Aloy is a 100% exact clone, basically,
right.
is gay.
Oh, right. No, I hope she gets some because like no because I like how like coy and like schoolyard crush it is with that one character in the DLC whose name I am forgetting right now, but she's a badass. It starts with an S.
It's Sayla or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, no, I think that's cool, and I really like how they're both kind of like deceiving each other.
It's Seika. I was literally like right there.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's actually the most interesting thing about the DLC so far. It is that development because they're both kind of like, we're both badass women and we're gonna like, try to work together for this one common goal. And then you find out like we're kind of lying to each other, but why? And then you're like, oh, maybe there's something a little bit deeper. And they play the little hand thing or they're touching and like, ooh, uncomfortable. I love it.
Have you interacted with the villain yet? Like not
like, yeah, Hollywood, the Hollywood guy. I love that.
Do you know who that is?
For as far as actor goes, or
yeah,
no, who's the actor?
It's Darth Maul.
Oh, okay, cool. Wow, they gave him speaking lines.
The new Darth Maul. It's Sam
the guy. Okay,
oh,
cool.
Okay.
I do love it though. Like I went through the amusement park area.
Yeah,
that's based off of kind of a famous Spielberg movie. And
just say it. It's literally an achievement.
It's dinosaurs.
It's just Jurassic
Pokemon.
Park. Calm down now.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum shows up. He's like, "Hey, find a way."
Finds a way.
No, I thought it was really neat. And as someone who's a fan of entertainment in general, I like the idea of this like washed up, like, or not necessarily washed up, but like producer, actor, director, legend of old, and then being part of this like elitist Zenith people, who did all their things. And actually, I find him as a villain much more compelling than the older ones. Like because you had like you had the smartass guy who was obviously the leader, the big buff guy, and then you had the lady who helped you, who ends up doing her thing. Yeah. So yeah, I do kind of like that idea, and he seems very douchey. So like the actor is like playing like I really like how he portrays the character.
He does a lot of work for Sony because like I know it got a lot of criticism, but I really enjoyed Days Gone. Like he does fantastic as Deacon St. John in that. He's in a lot of Star Wars projects. He's also in Supergirl actually. So as a fan of entertainment myself,
That was
the entertainment industry. Thank you, Donnie. Yes.
No, that's a fan of entertainment. I like entertainment.
To quote one Willem Dafoe, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Yeah. As someone who generally enjoys being entertained. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Delvin, you been playing or watching anything?
Yeah, I played. I was playing before we got on the show. I was watching a movie also, but this game that I was talking about a little bit on. I didn't even mention the game completely, but I was talking about I was going to play it on Shack today. World of Horror. Have you either of you heard of this game?
No,
Nope.
Haven't heard of it.
Okay, it's this horror game that's in the vein of those classic point-and-click adventure games that was on like Macintosh, NES and stuff like that. You ever heard of the game Deja Vu that was on NES on PC a long time ago?
No, I know of like general point and click games though. I think like I played a Pinocchio one back in the day. Like you have a screen, you find something you can click and move on.
Yeah, it has that feel of like those old PC point-and-click adventure games, but it's a horror-themed game, and it's in 2-bit format. So it looks like it's in black and white, like very like pixelated graphics, but it kind of adds to the horror theme of it because the way it looks very like almost disturbing. Like it's a very interesting game to play, like and it's these different you're playing these different stories that you're trying to solve and figure out, and it has RPG elements in terms of like they'll like for example they'll put you in a situation like okay like hey, you're in this school and you're reading the text and stuff like that. These kids are getting murdered by this creature. You have to figure out what this creature is. So then like most old school RPGs like Ultimate and stuff like that, it gives you options of what to do, like search the room, walk here, walk that, and walk over here, check this drawer. And as you're searching these areas, you're either seeing creatures and they're trying to attack you, like actual like horror creatures. They look like very disturbing. Or you're like finding clues and things like that. And it's a very interesting, fascinating, and I would even probably say scary game because of the way it's done, because of the way the graphics look and how disturbing the creatures look based on how you play it. It's very eerie. And the way they do it, it's disturbing because it's text based, but it's like the old NES game stuff like that. It has like steel screens and stuff like that, and you do combat like the old like fight, run. Then there's a button you can press, like you can search the room for items to attack the creature, and based on how you do, whether you survive the encounter or not. And it's really, I played through the intro level of it, and I was enjoying my time with it. But I don't know what it was. As I got through the first part of it, game completely crashed. Like, oh, that sucked. And for a game that looks the way it looks, it shouldn't be having issues like crashing. Because like I said, it looked like an NES game, an NES old school PC game.
Yeah, you think that would be pretty easy to make bug proof these days, right?
Yeah. And it just straight up crashed. Like it's not very labor intensive, like but like I was playing it. And the way the game looks, I thought it was shit. I was like, is this part of the game? Cause I got like a weird crash. It was like no, the game just crashed. That was it. It just crashed, and like that's a weird thing to do. And I haven't gotten back to it. I'm gonna get back to it probably the night after we finish this show, or I got some stuff to do before that. But yeah, I was very interested in my time with it so far.
I figured out the next game you can beat through osmosis because I don't think you're ever gonna beat it.
Was this one?
No, Baldur's Gate 3.
I'm gonna start playing that one again. I really was enjoying my time with Baldur's Gate 3.
Well, Haley, have you completed Baldur's Gate 3?
Yes, you did.
Nope.
1,000
No.
times.
Yeah, exactly.
That's surprising.
I'm in Act 3.
Yeah,
3.
you and everybody else who hasn't finished the game.
Well, so that's the thing, though, right? Is that Act 1 and Act 1 and 2 are like very like excellent, and then Act 3 becomes this like open city center, and it's like go explore, and I'm like,
It's a lot,
yeah,
and there's a lot of dungeons too versus the others. You know, like all of a sudden you're doing something with Shadowheart, and you're like, well, that took 4 hours.
I'll get back to it. That one I know for sure I'm going to get back to because I want to play as a drow because I know that everybody reacts to you differently.
Yeah, it just kind of cracks me up that I've completed the game twice, and so many people are like, "Oh, I love Baldur's Gate," and blah blah, and then I'm like, "Well, what did you think of the ending, or what ending did you get?" They're like, "Well, I'm still in Act 3."
But
This game has an ending.
Yeah, I thought you just hung out in the city until the end of times.
But also, let me point out that I play a lot. Like,
Sure,
I play a lot, so like I'm not as well versed at playing a lot as Delvin, where he'll start a game and then never finish it.
Yes.
I'm looking at you, Stellar Blade, which I also haven't finished, so I'm like the pot calling the kettle black here.
Wow, racist.
Yeah. No, I gotta get back to that as well. Like, there's a lot I gotta play, but then like Star Wars is coming out at the end of the month, Dead Rising and Lollipop Chainsaw next month, a bunch in October. Dragon Age is gonna be in there at some point. Like, I got a lot coming.
Got a lot of reasons why Act 3 will be where I'm chilling.
Exactly.
I mean, at this point, I'll probably just start over again.
But yeah, I highly recommend people go look up World of Horror just to see the aesthetics of it. See what I'm talking about, because it's a very fascinating looking game to say the least. All right, y'all want to get to these news stories?
Sure.
All right, Snurts, lead us off with these news stories, sir.
I'm sorry, real quick. I just Googled World of Horror to take your advice, and it like immediately gives me something that looks between the Joker and Attack on Titan. I'm good. I'm so scared. I don't want to do that, sir.
It looks really disturbing, right?
It looks super disturbing. I was very, I wasn't sure where you're getting at, and you're like, oh, it's like old school design, but it's super disturbing. And then I was like, oh, that's how you do that. Okay. I had a hard time imagining it. But as soon as I saw like a pic, I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah, it looks like disturbing, like grotesque almost, like oh.
Yeah, like I said, like almost like a blending of like if like Joker was one of those Titans from the anime type of deal. But anyway, yeah, news stories. We got August coming up, so I figured we'd talk about our free games.
I need. Sorry, this is breaking right now. HBO just dropped a teaser for season 2 of Last of Us.
Oh, cool!
Breaking right this second. As far as I know, I'm double checking. I just saw it while I was clearing out stupid Diablo notifications. But okay. Yes,
y'all can go check it after y'all finish watching the show. Don't go now.
Yeah, whatever you do not.
No, I'm double checking my source. I don't want people being like, yeah, they did 48 minutes ago.
Everyone's leaving now.
Yeah,
we have no viewers.
Yeah. Okay, so
Thanks,
how long
Haley.
is the trailer? I'm just gonna sit silent for 3 minutes and we'll wait.
It's like 48 seconds. It's 48 seconds.
They're gonna show Joel's hand and like, oh, look at that, it's back.
And you're probably gonna have a couple clicks, right? Like from the mushroom zombies.
You can just call it a clicker because that's what it is.
That's what I don't remember.
It's runner, stalker, clicker, bloater.
Yeah, it's zombie, infected, remnant, whatever. They keep coming up with new words for the same thing. It's a zombie.
It's not a zombie. The person is alive under there.
They'll be all right. Well, not for long.
So August, free games. We get Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga.
Great game.
Yeah, I actually will probably give that a try. I haven't played it, but if it's free, I heard the Lego stuff is pretty cute and entertaining. Five Nights at Freddy's. I feel like that was pretty quick. I feel like that game just came out, but maybe my memory is playing.
Is that the one people say is the good one?
Hold on. Which one? There are like 27 Five Nights at Freddy's games.
Security breach.
Security, yeah. The PS4, PS5 game.
That's the one I think that people say is the good one because there's one that's like a first person horror game. I think that's Security Breach, isn't it? Security Breach 1 and 2 are the
They're all first person.
Well, first person exploration horror.
Okay.
Because the other ones are first person. You're like in the room. You're hitting the damn buttons.
Yeah, you're in the security room hitting buttons. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the VR one that Delvin will definitely play.
No.
Does Delvin even still have his VR unit since, Sony took it out back and shot it with a goddamn gun?
Yeah. It's in my house collecting dust.
And then Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights, if I'm saying that correctly. No idea what that is. Says
I've heard
it's
good things about Ender Lilies.
2D action RPG, so looks neat. The only one I'm really excited about is the Lego game. How about you two?
Skywalker Saga is pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
It's fully voice acted, by the way. So like a lot of the gags are there, but they're voiced, so they're not as funny. I don't find the newer Lego games that feature voices funny with the gags. Honestly.
Oh, you liked more of the memes or or mimes? Sorry, not memes.
Pantomime.
Yeah. I like the miming gags. They're still fun to play. Don't get me wrong. Like hell, I'm gonna be buying Donnie already knows this because game share, but I'm gonna be buying Lego Horizon, right? Like it's I much prefer the silent gag bits because they could do more with it, right? But now they've got audio in there, so there's story to be told now, but it's it's more focused on that than the mime bits.
And it seems like it has a lot of variety. So, depending on what you're feeling for any kind of given Star Wars experience, you can get it, be it Jedi, Sith, pilot, or scoundrel. So, that did make me curious. So, Delvin and I talked a lot about Star Wars on his podcast. So, I always got room in the belly for another good dose of Star Wars.
Yeah, and it's this Skywalker Saga.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Force Awakens, I'm sure, will be the best level ever, right, buddy?
Exactly. That is the one I played and enjoyed and stopped. Didn't play the rest.
Yeah, really?
I'm done here.
You're on brand. You're on brand, sir. So next up, we got GameStop shuts down Game Informer, the longest running gaming magazine in the U.S. It began publishing in... is this 1999? I think I copy pasted wrong. 1991. And the final issue will be number 367, covering Dragon Age: The Veilguard. So, are we pouring one out for Game Informer? Do we have fond memories of this magazine?
Absolutely, we're pouring one out for Game Informer. Holy shit! One of the most influential. Not even just magazines. I mean, reporting for games in general. Game Informer is ubiquitous. It's absolutely a huge loss for the industry. Also, I do want to point out they were 70% of the way through making the next issue.
Yeah, that's always 70%. Rough when they pull the plug like that. It seemed very sudden. Why wouldn't you do a gradual phase out if you know this was happening?
Here's why. Guess what the CEO of GameStop's being sued for?
Insider trading?
Yep. $39 million. Just happens to coincide when, we're shutting the doors.
Wow.
Now,
and do we know if that's related or not?
I genuinely don't know. It's what everybody's angry about. But it's a little out there. Either way, more fucking layoffs, dude. This fucking year has been terrible. We're way past last year's numbers. And I'm not even including the 15,000 employees from Intel in the game industry layoffs in general. Intel laid off 15,000 people on Friday. So that was fun.
Yeah. 15,000. It's a little disappointing that they weren't able to continue on a digital front. I understand print media is going the way of the dinosaur, unfortunately. I mean, it's something I deal with on a day job all the time. But you would think that there'd be somebody out there who would want to take the recognition of an established brand and said, I'll pay X amount of dollars to keep that thing going. And, but I guess not.
But Here's the thing, though. The magazine has been digital for over 10 years.
Right. No, it's
Like,
not
there
like
were
they were.
still print editions, like you could get them at GameStop or whatnot, but like 90% of like the way that Game Informer made its money was through digital subscriptions.
Yeah.
That's how
Right, and it's a
that's
bummer
how the
that
magazine has been.
somebody didn't want to just keep that going. Like, okay, GameStop wants to unburden themselves of this cost for their business. Who insert wealthy person
I
here who comes in and picks it up.
I was talking to Donnie about it on Shaq. I asked him like, could like somebody just go out and just buy Game Informer now?
That's what I'm
Somebody
thinking.
just buy, because that would, I think it'd be a pretty good investment. Like just buy because. And Donnie brought up a really good point on Shaq when we were talking about like this should have been a thing that they kind of used the name a lot more. Like we was talking about like how Stop TV is playing all over their stores. Why not just make that Game Informer TV and just show stuff from Game Informer? They could have did a lot better job of promoting Game Informer and doing things with the Game Informer name, a name that is known and a name that is trusted. Like I love Game Informer. Frankly speaking, it's my favorite video game magazine since Game Pro. I read it all the time. GameStop would force me to like get digital. Like, no, please give me the physical copy of it because I love reading Game. That was the one magazine that I always wanted a physical of. I enjoyed it so much. So it kind of like this is kind of an end of an era. In terms of like seeing Game Informer close down and stuff. I was shocked to hear the news and so much good things. So much. I like Game Informer's coverage of video games far more than I like IGN's own coverage of it.
Well, IGN has continued to get worse and worse as well. I mean, I do.
Okay,
research.
hold on. I'm putting a stop to that. We're not going to denigrate another. There are great people working at IGN. Editorial makes stupid decisions. Let's not blame the reporters.
Not saying that. I said I enjoyed Game Informer's coverage more.
I didn't say you were, and I wasn't. I was preemptively putting that in there because when this is not the snuff against nerds. This is 100% has become a defensive mechanism for me because every time I hear someone denigrate IGN, they're just essentially calling them like terrible people, and that's all on editorial. No. Like that's not on the reporters, and it wasn't a dig at nerds. It's just I know where this conversation can lead, so let's be careful where we tread because the people who are doing actual reporting at IGN, like they're doing great stuff, right? But editorial gets in its own way, so like you'll get. Here's the problem with that as well, is one of the people on editorial it doesn't make great decisions, and we'll leave it at that. If you followed me enough, you know who I'm talking about. I'd very much like to this person to not be in the industry anymore. But
he must work for Bungie.
We'll get to that. But no, like Snurts, I get what you're saying that like IGN's coverage has gone down routes that aren't the greatest, but usually that's on editorial and not the actual reporters themselves.
I would say I've noticed a general lowering of content and thoroughness across the board. Like when I look up stories for our podcast, I am not seeing the kind of robust reporting that I used to see from sites like Kotaku, IGN.
That's Polygon. A Ziff Davis thing.
It's across the board, and I think it has something to do with like consolidation and copy paste journalism, and that's where I was getting at. Like anybody who works at any of these and trying to like eke out a living, doing reporting is tough. But like I would say like the quality of the site has gone down over the years, regardless of who's to blame.
It's on Ziff Davis. It's on the management company.
And I've said this several times before. I get my news from PSVG. I think, and I mean Donnie. Donnie does when Donnie picks up the stories for PSVG, he does an excellent job of breaking down the stories.
Yeah.
What it means to you, what it means to me, getting both sides and getting a full-fledged opinion on what it means as a whole. Like, it's so many stories I can go back to look at, like, the whole Xbox buying Activision thing. You can look at the whole NCAA football thing. I get more from listening to Donnie talk about it than I do GameStop or IGN, I think that's one. I think that gives praise to Donnie, but at the same time, I think that just shows that they're not doing what they used to do anymore. Like the
Exactly.
coverage that
Yes.
we used to get that from the IGNs, the Game Informers, the Kotakus. We don't really get that like that anymore. And so when sometimes that's one of the reasons why I appreciate Donnie and the way he does things, because he's very thorough about giving us the whole details about things and kind of breaking it down. And I think that's kind of the downfall of media in general. As of late, you don't really get people breaking it down like that and kind of giving you the details, and it kind of sucks not seeing that anymore.
I would say
And I'm not even talking about just video games, like in general, like with news.
Yeah,
in general,
no, I was just going to
really
say that
bad.
too. Like my general frustration with like the lowering and in-depth reporting across the board for video game websites and the reviews is very similar to the decline in local news as well. Like I see like they don't necessarily have the funds and the resources or the willingness to kind of let things cook and let things develop and let things be researched. And instead,
with local
we just
news, I can
get...
pinpoint the problem exactly. I think we all can. They're all local news stations are owned, like 90% of the ones in the country are owned by like one company. So,
well, there's the whole Sinclair problem, but like even in markets that aren't owned by Sinclair, there is a lack of funding for local news and reporting. Los Angeles is a major city. We have lots of money flowing around, but if you go to KTLA or NBC News, like it is the same, very basic, not really in-depth stuff. And so I see it across the board, and I agree. Like our local gumshoe Donnie sure does a bang-up job, and I sure hope he continues with this in-depth coverage.
He really does. He really does do an excellent job with the way he covers things, the way he brings it up, and talks about issues that matter. And I think that's why a lot of people come to PSVG, because they like hearing his points and our points when it comes to these type of things. I think that's one of the things that he really excels at.
It is. Yeah. And again, I'm just going to piggyback, but also like this is one of the reasons why I miss our website. I know that like it's still there, but like we used to have people, huh?
No, we're not doing that no more.
I know we're not, but I miss the website because it was a great time. Like you could read people's opinions, right? But like Donnie has always done a great job at like collecting stories and like forming a cohesive talk around them. I fully admit some people get a little heated on stories, but
some people, Haley.
Hey man.
Look in the mirror.
I'm aware. That's why I said it. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm looking at the person in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways.
It's always a good time listening to like whoever's on the show discuss like the news stories of the week. It's always a good time. So, hey man, I fully admitted it. I don't have to name myself if I say I fully admit. I know who I'm talking about. You can't say caught in 4K.
Yeah. Also, hopefully I don't get like too much shit for this, but in addition to PSVG, it's another reason I enjoy a Second Wind, because I think they have unique takes for some of the video game industry stuff.
Let's see how long Second Wind stays in contention, given what happened this week.
But my point being is like, it's interesting as we discuss it, like these more indie outfits, right? Like, they're not the big ones of the world, seem to still trying to like hopefully carry this torch of having a little bit more in depth or just like longer. Maybe it's really shallow, but the conversation goes on for a little bit longer than it does,
That's fair.
And that's honestly where like I get the majority of my news that I seek out on my own. And Donnie, like maybe I should hit you up on Discord and be like, where do you go to find all this excellent news? Where do you go for these excellent news?
Oh wait, you haven't actually been on like the main show. So you don't have access to the doc. You can see where he gets it. It's all linked in there.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, we probably put Snurts on the main show.
Yeah, we need. Well, the problem is it's a Wednesday night and Snurts isn't available.
No. Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. I'm not in the office. But I do have to admit, usually Wednesdays I'm cooking and smoking and just having PSVG in the background and having a good old time, just being a consumer.
But no,
I can be more than just the PSXP. That was my foot in the door, Donnie. Now that the door is wide open, let's dive in.
Yeah.
Mixing metaphors.
Next thing you know, Snurts is added to the group chat. I mean,
I'm in everything. I'm on the chat.
Hey,
I still talk about Ocarina of Time. That's the only game I talk about.
No, but like
that's how they get you.
Like Donnie does a great job, and his efforts should not be like the way to put this. Donnie's efforts are a huge reason like why our audience loves this content. Like, yeah, this show becomes a garbage truck on fire at like 90% of the times. But you know what? It's this show exists because Donnie made the main show, and like in each of its iterations, he's always done that. He's gathered stories, talked in like a group cohesive format to like give opinions and get opinions on like whatever the current topic is. Like it's always been a good time.
Yeah.
And honestly, I know that sometimes Donnie has thoughts that like maybe let's end it. Don't, man. Like you're one of like the best sources right now. Like don't.
I would ask that he takes a break. And then after like taking a break, if he still feels like he needs to like call it quits, that's one thing. But like anytime you need like space and take your time, you got plenty of people on the network to fill
I'm not
in.
saying don't take breaks. Donnie can obviously take breaks, but like
but I'm saying like we all get that feeling of burnout, right? We all have that point where like, do I really want to keep doing this? What's going on? Is this still worth it for me? And then I find like usually if it's something I'm truly passionate about, sometimes just walking away for a little bit, kind of you reset, come back, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is why I loved it. This is great.
That's honestly one of the big reasons we do our big break in December.
Yeah, no, and I took that to heart too, because I think we're going to do the same thing for my Simpsons pod. I was like, let's just take December off. Let's just take a break, reset.
That's one of the reasons why I was adamant about bringing more people into PSVG in general. So when times come up, like what happened with me comes up, we don't. It doesn't hurt the show if we have somebody who can cover, somebody who can continue the conversation going. But it's important to get the right people in here to do those things. That's why Snurts has been such a great fit. Snurts fits since day one. And
that's what's nice about it, Donnie. Like it may not be anything special, but the way that it comes together is.
Yes, the way Donnie brings the stories together adds his spin to it and kind of like puts it in perspective for people who don't really understand, like, oh, why is this story important? Here's why it's important, and I think he does a really great job. And I think when I think of like one of my favorite times to like listening to podcasts about video games is the early Kind of Funny era where you had Colin and Greg, and they kind of did that same thing,
Yeah, a lot of it now is that, and this has become a general internet problem. So, like, I'm not singling anyone out here, but a lot of it now is people don't read past the headline.
Yeah.
Guilty. Like I do sometimes, but not all the time.
They'll read the headline, and that's it. That's their understanding of the story. They just read the headline and move on, like instead of actually going and reading the report. Which I get that like people are busy and whatnot, but like. Come on, you gotta at least try to actually read the story, or if it's in video format only, which that's my biggest pet peeve sometimes is when they're like, here's this nice story. Oh, it's only in video format. You can't read it. Man, I'm in public. I don't want to put headphones in. I want to read your story. Like,
that's how it is. But
yeah,
I appreciate that we can provide that for people at PSVG.
For sure.
Right. Let's go into this next story.
Hold on. Before we move on. No, I was going to say we should include Terps' question here because it relates to Game Informer.
Oh, okay. What was the question?
What are your favorite or most interesting Game Informer covers?
Oh, there's a lot.
I remember being very excited about most of the Halos and specifically Halo 3 had a very big push because it was the new game on the 360. So I do remember the classic Master Chief picture. I believe it spread across the front and the back cover.
Mhm.
And that is one thing in general that I will praise Game Informer is they always had very large, detailed, gorgeous screenshots of the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
They like it, so many of the other ones were very cluttered. And then one of the things I remember about Game Informer is just like, yeah, you would have your details, you would have your story and everything like that. But like big splashy covers, big splashy like intros to the story. So Halo 3 was one of the ones that came to mind. But I'm sure there are others, like because I honestly kind of fell off the wagon, and maybe I'm part of the problem with Game Informer going down. But I do always recall just going to a GameStop back in the day and thumbing through it, and usually picking up a subscription because it came with some kind of like used game discount or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'll go with Halo 3.
So not my favorite, but one of the most interesting covers is the cover that showcased the original look for Borderlands.
Okay.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, because it was such a different look from what the game actually looks like now. Which, don't get me wrong, changing to the cell shaded format, way better. But that cover is like an interesting look at history to see what Borderlands looked like before it received like the consumer, like, I wouldn't say backlash, but like, hey, this game looks like wildly generic. And then when the game came out, it was cell shaded. I want to say my favorite cover is the Assassin's Creed 3 cover.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
With Connor
sure.
like in the
Yeah.
snow and like his uniform, and yeah, it was such a good cover.
I have 3 that come to mind. The first one is the Game Informer cover with Mass Effect 3. with
Okay.
Commander
Oh,
Shepard on the
sure.
cover with
Yeah.
the blade. I like that cover a lot. And how it on the other side, I think it was someone else on the side. I can't remember what it was.
Okay, wait. Did
Might
they
have been
do
one
like
of the-
male and
It might have
female
been
Shepard?
it might have been
Like,
it might have
think
been
it
one
was.
where they had both, because Mass Effect 3 was the first time they had fans vote on the canon look for like
Yeah,
default
correct.
female Shepard.
yeah, and
So,
it's cool. Like
yes.
when you got the game, you could flip the insert of the art.
Yeah,
So if you didn't want the male,
which I always did
because I'm
I
Fem
never.
Shep all the way. Like I
Yeah,
love,
I never.
I
played
love the
male
voice
Shep.
actress Haley. Is it Haley?
It's You're close. It's Jennifer
Close,
Hale.
right?
You're thinking of her last name.
Yeah, her last name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, the God of War cover. I'm sure that the original God of War, like PS, was it 1 or 2 era? Are we talking
That was a
about?
great
Are
They-
we? Ta-
I-
might
I think it was the God of War 2 cover that looked really good too.
Yeah, when he has like his he's just over at like Olympus and looking up at the 2 blades.
Yeah, the Horizon cover's good too. Yeah.
Yeah, Horizon was very nice. Yeah, they had a bunch. They really did those screenshots
Yeah.
justice.
Yeah.
Covers look really good.
Here's the saddest part about all this. The website's gone. You can't go back.
It's
and
completely
get it.
gone. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
because-
a landing page now.
And I
It's
was so
just-
frustrated because I saw the question and I was like, oh, let me look up some covers. And the best I could get on a quick search was just Google Images, which is
Yep.
pathetic. Like you can't even get somebody to pay just whatever it costs to keep a website up. What is it,
Well,
$100 a month on AWS?
I have
Like,
no
come
idea
on.
what the cost is, but here's the worst part about this. So all of those people that are laid off now need examples of their work.
Well, they should have a portfolio if they do not. Like,
Well,
I mean,
it's not even just that, but a lot of people like to update their work over time. So
Sure,
all of
no,
that
yeah.
work they did for that outlet is gone.
yeah.
So, like, that's just
So
the
many
frustrating
great
part of
covers.
it. Yeah, there's so many good covers for that. The Skyrim cover is good too. Like, yeah, it's simple. It's just like the logo for Skyrim, but like, it's like a pure black cover with like the dragon symbol on it. It's great covers. Like, I will miss the reporting and like the iconography that Game Informer like absolutely puts out.
Well, yeah. Well, before we move on, let me read their final farewell. You can go look on the Game Informer website because it's right there for you to read it off. But it says, the final level farewell from Game Informer. After 33 years of bringing the latest news, reviews, and insights from the ever-evolving world of gaming, it is with a heavy heart that we announce the closure of Game Informer. From the early days of pixelated adventures to today's immersed virtual realms, we have been honored to share this incredible journey with you. our loyal readers. And while presses may stop, the passion for gaming that we've cultivated together will continue to live on. Thank you for being a part of this our epic quest, and may your own gaming ventures never end. Yeah, that's heavy because this is like a lot of kids grew up on Game Informer 33 years ago. I was young. I was a kid.
I wasn't born.
I was a kid reading Game Informer. Like I remember, I was during the era of the I guess you can kind of call it the magazine wars, where everybody had every company. It was EGM, Game Informer,
Sure.
Game Pro. So many video game magazines. It was just so fun going out getting each one to see what different story they had into them, and it's kind of feels like the end of an era. Like you don't really have that anymore. Famitsu was one, I think.
Then you had the ones that are specifically based for a console. So you had Nintendo Power, you had the Xbox official magazine, and I'm assuming PlayStation had one as well.
Yes, they did. Came with a demo disc.
That's what I was going to say. The Xbox one did as well, and that was one of the biggest selling points for me as a consumer back then. Is that I really this a whole new gaming era, right, with the original Xbox, and I wasn't really too sure what I would like, and the fact that you would get a demo disc, and one time they provided a cheat character for Knights of the Old Republic where you had way more XP and money than you would normally starting out, so you could cheese that game and just kind of fly through it and experience things that you wouldn't be able to experience through a normal playthrough. So yeah, there is definitely a heyday there. I want to say in the 90s to 2000s, right? It's a physical media for the video game coverage.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's bringing back memories now. I can vividly remember going to plenty of my cousins' houses and them having stacks of Game Informers in their house. And I probably still think I have stacks of Game Informers in my house. And also, I remember going over certain family members' bathrooms, and how people have magazines in their bathrooms.
Yeah.
They have stacks of Game Informers there. Actually, I was just
my grandparents have a huge stack of National Geographic in their bathroom. So
yeah, that's kind of was our National Geographic, Nerves National Geographic Game Informer.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah, it really is. All right, let's get on to another bummer story.
Speaking of bummers. As we all know, Bungie layoffs have occurred. They are shedding 220 of its employees, with another 155 being integrated into positions at PlayStation. I had two links for us, which one was the official statement from Bungie, and the other one was kind of a critique, thinking that basically Sony overpaid for Bungie. Y'all covered this on PSVG already. I don't really have too many thoughts into it other than it's a bummer, and I do understand and somewhat agree without knowing all the details that maybe people were stacking up too much during the pandemic, and now this is part of the natural cycle. Regardless, it is always a bummer when people are losing their jobs, and I hope everybody involved is able to find new work in a timely fashion.
Let me. I want to ask a question for you, Stacey Haley, because I find that quote, I think Sony overpaid for Bungie, a little weird. Because, and I say that because you own Bungie now. Bungie made Bungie made a game, Destiny, that you can say it's a great game. People love it. It's a legendary game. It has its fan base, stuff like that. You could have at any point in time had them do other things instead of keep working on Destiny. There were other ways to make money with Bungie. It's not like they were just we're just gonna make Destiny. We're gonna keep working on Destiny. It's cool that you're working on it, but there's other ways to kind of make revenue. And it just feels like this was just bad management. I won't say it's it's not the company's fault. I think it was just bad management and bad leadership. That's what felt Bungie at this point. I don't think Sony overpaid for him, in short. I think it's just bad leadership.
I do want to point out that it might be a bit of both and this is not corroborated at the moment, so I am specifying that because I'm waiting for more information. But I do want to point out, it did come out today that there's been an investigation And Sony might have actually overpaid for Bungie because Bungie might have overestimated their financial situation at the time of acquisition. Now
isn't
I
that
am
like
waiting.
illegal?
Yes, that would be financial
that's,
fraud.
That's why the investigation, right?
That is a
That's
crime.
why the investigation. Why I'm waiting. Like, I'm not gonna go deep into that aspect. I'm just putting it out there and saying I'm gonna wait for someone like Jason Schreier or Jeff Grubb or someone who does actual investigative reporting. Sure, let's let Donnie get in on the investigation into Bungie. But no,
Donnie will read the shit we're not gonna read.
Yeah.
He will go through all that stuff and
500.
here you go.
I'm
This is what
just
happened.
putting it out there.
I'm not
I'm
doing
waiting
that
for
shit.
I'm waiting for someone to fully investigate that, like Schreier, Grubb.
Now
Rebecca
they lied.
Johnson.
That's a whole different story.
Yes, this is what I'm saying, and why I'm saying that. I'm not going to delve into that aspect of my comments here. I do, before I touch on the Bungie situation, want to Donnie's comment there about how Game Informer and Netflix were two of his earliest pieces of mail. I think the funniest part about that is I think my first actual piece of mail, granted it wasn't my dead name, but was the official Lego magazine.
Okay.
What a piece of mail. I didn't know that was a thing.
So you'd have to go to the Lego store to actually get enrolled in it. But yeah, I went to the Lego store in Niagara Falls and I got enrolled in it. And then for 4.5 years, I received the official Lego magazine.
I think my first piece of mail was probably from Grandma, and it had a $5 bill in it.
I was really into Lego because it's great. For
Legos are great.
Yeah, it's just super expensive now.
Oh, they are very expensive, and the story of Lego is deep and fascinating. Let us begin.
See, it's funny you say that because I have a coworker who can absolutely recount the entire tale of Lego.
I've also watched, I think, 2 documentaries on the history of Legos, and I found them fascinating.
On the Bungie situation, I see a lot of people focusing on the Pete Parsons thing in his cars. The man sucks. We know this. A lot of former employees are coming out and asking him to step down. We know that Pete Parsons sucks. I do not like that he has spent $2.3 million on 17 classic cars since they were purchased by Sony. But I don't think that's why they laid off all these people.
No. What he does with his money is his business.
Exactly.
Well, as long as his legal money.
Yes.
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah. Because his salary is only $600,000 and he spent $2.3 million. So that's a little fishy. Just gonna say. Yeah, I do remember hearing that Activision and Microsoft had both been approached, Donnie. For audio listeners, not visual listeners, Donnie says, I think it's pretty telling that Bungie was on the block for some time. Reportedly, both Activision and Microsoft were approached, and both decided to pass on the deal.
I do remember that.
I remember both of those reports.
Which is kind of wild when you consider the history of Microsoft and Bungie together, right? If somebody you used to work with is kind of sorry, pass.
Well, that might lead to what Haley was saying earlier about Sony overpaying. Microsoft might have did their research. No, you're lying. This is right. These numbers ain't adding up.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a $3.6 billion buyout fee.
Yes,
according to the Push Square article, which seems like a lot of money, but I don't know. It depends on the scale of everything.
I will let the financial educators deal with whether or not that's an actual case. Here's what I'm saying, though. When you have a bunch of your former employees coming out and outright saying, this is bad management and leadership, you need to step down. Somebody in the higher-ups needs to take accountability for what has happened at Bungie. Will they? No, because
of course not.
It never fucking happens. And it's honestly irritating every time it happens. But this is the second time Bungie has done layoffs. And each time, Pete Parsons goes out there and says this sad little bit about how this was unavoidable and takes no fucking accountability. The second time, the exact moment it happened, fucker privated his own Twitter account.
Well, at least he has some common sense.
Oh no.
Fuck that.
I don't think that's common sense. I think he was shielding himself from employees that
Oh, he
had
was.
problems.
That's where the common sense comes from. He didn't want that smoke. He was ducking. I respect it. Like, fuck this. Nope.
It's okay, but he does need to take accountability. Like all of the people that put their love and soul into that game, you're bleeding talent, dude. Like, and you're taking no accountability for it. Like, it's a tragic situation, and he just doesn't seem to care.
Yeah.
It's so.
I mean,
frustrating.
it's so similar to most of the corporate world, unfortunately. But
Oh, I know, but
yeah.
like, it's like listening to my company talk about how much like it's not gaming related, but like we hear the same thing in our company about how they don't want to like pay certain people more, and it's like you make like $2.8 million per employee a year, and you're bitching about 20 cents. Like,
yeah,
like,
I can relate to that.
Yeah, it's absolute. Like, I know that's how it all works. It's just frustrating to see the higher ups never have to take accountability for their poor leadership.
Well, and if they do, it's always in couch terms that are kind of vague, and it's like way later, and they get a golden parachute usually anyway. So
yeah,
it doesn't feel quite the same.
I do want to point out of like the 375 people or something like that were laid off. Well, not laid off, but like 220 were laid off. 155 are going to Sony, and of those 155, 75 people are starting a new studio. It's a wild situation, and I guess it's also come out that like Bungie's advice in regards to The Last of Us was, hey, don't go full in on a live service game. Like, don't do it, which is real funny and sad to hear now at this point. And I just want to point out, if that's your advice to Naughty Dog, dude, Sony's launching a live service game in like a week and a half. What are we fucking doing?
Concord, right? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. It's out on the 19th, yes.
Yeah, what also makes me think of our Rocksteady, right? Who did the Suicide Squad.
Which, by the way, here's my favorite fucking part. I thank you for mentioning it. Hey, sure, guys, what did I fucking call? We're not killing the actual Justice League.
Oh, yeah. Who'd have thunk it?
I mean, the thing that was fucking telegraphed from the goddamn beginning because DC doesn't have the balls to fucking kill their main roster? No, of course not. Yeah.
We're not killing the Justice League. We're just killing ourselves.
Yeah. No, it's almost like the curse of the live service, right? Where if you can get that right formula and you make it work and you get all the money, is great. But there's so many people who try to like mimic that, fall short, and then repercussions occur in the business side.
I just want to point out also, by the way, the only Justice League member in that game who actually dies because she's not a clone is Wonder Woman. Like, they fucking killed Wonder Woman. Everybody else, we can rescue them. What are we fucking doing? Like, we defeated this new Brainiac. There's the Flash, and he's knocked out, and we put him in stasis. Next time it'll be Green Lantern. It'll be Superman after that. What are we fucking doing?
Well, I won't find out about that at all, because I'm not playing that shit.
They're not dead.
I haven't played it. I just saw the fucking. I literally just saw the trailer, like the literal like actual scene where they rescue the Flash, posted on Twitter by Paul Tassi of Forbes, and that's how I got this information. And I was like, predictable, because I knew goddamn well that DC would not fucking do that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Forbes for keeping their video game journalism alive.
I mean, Paul Tassi is their live service guy, man.
I know. But like Forbes is consistent. I don't see everything because it's sometimes behind a paywall. But I digress. Are we ready to talk about the strike?
So hold on before we move on to the strike.
Sure.
But I just want to say, with Paul Tassi, I unfortunately usually have to be I read the headline and move on, because I don't have the money for a Forbes subscription. So paywall. Yeah.
Which I totally get why they do, but it is what it is.
That's another frustrating part about like media is like, if you want the good stuff, you have to pay for it, and like,
I
can't afford that, man. So
All right, video game performers are on strike, and AI is the sticking point. Performers are seeking clear safety and protection measures like 5-minute breaks per 1 hour of recording and a medic on site when performing stunts. However, the biggest issue is AI, both for voice actors and stunt performers, which I found interesting because most of the initial coverage I heard about was only for the voice side of things. And I have two quotes here. One is generally from labor, and the other is from the studios. And I'm quoting from an NPR article here. Performers who spoke to NPR say it's important to recognize that they aren't arguing that AI can never or should never be used in games. They just want to make sure that uses of AI are clear, understandable, and compensated. And then from the video game companies, a spokesman from the video game companies involved in the negotiations released a statement saying the companies and the union have already found common ground on 24 out of the 25 proposals, and that they are disappointed the union has chosen to walk away when they're close to a deal. The video game companies say they're prepared to resume negotiations.
Okay, so let's wade through that line of bullshit, because I've seen several come out and say, like, okay, so 24 out of the 25. Anybody want to guess what 25 is? Do we? Do we want to guess what 25 is? It's AI.
Yeah.
And that's their only concern. They don't even care about the money right now. Like, it's not about the money. It's straight up, hey, we don't want to be scanned and then never have to be paid again in our lives. That is not how that works. And you'll note, if you actually go and read, because you can, like, on SAG-AFTRA's website, they've got all the frequently asked questions. They've got answers for non-members, for streamers, people like us in the content creation space. They I doubt any of us will become SAG-AFTRA members, but if that were to happen, there's guidelines for us to follow too. They're not really asking anything of us except to do what we're doing now, which is talk about the strike and to just use the proper channels when we do so. And if you can, which I don't know that we're big enough, I would love to have someone from the industry on, but I don't think we're big enough for that. Regardless, they'd also love, if you're talking about it, get someone from the industry on, right? That's what SAG is asking of content creators or streamers. They're not asking you to not play any video games. They're not asking you to not promote any video games unless you're a SAG performer, in which case you are not allowed to promote work that you are in. So, for example, Alana Pierce can't play Gears 5 on stream right now because she's in it. Stuff like that, right? So it's AI, and if you read the proposal or the interim agreement, they're not even asking for AI to not be included. They're just asking for a full breakdown of what the AI is going to be used for, basically. That's
I mean, that's why in the quote it's a clear, understandable, and compensated. And I think that's totally fair. When you're doing a commercial and you're an actor in a commercial, and if it shows over and over and over again, you get this thing called residuals. So if they set up some kind of residual payment program, I think that would be open by the actors and everybody who's part of SAG to kind of take that into consideration. I thought it was a very reasonable response from the labor side of the argument and a very stereotypical response from the employer side.
Yeah, you'll always hear the employer come out with we're ready to negotiate, and we've found compromises on almost all of the issues, but then they ignore the big main issue that the industry has. And you'll note, this will not blow. I do not think this will blow over as fast as the last video game strike, which, if anyone remembers, the last video game strike lasted 11 months. I think this is going to go longer.
Oh, really? So you don't think they're going to come to some kind of agreement?
I would happily love for an agreement to happen before that. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the studios are going to just sit there and push and push and push for the AI. And here's why. And SAG's not happy about this, I'll point out, but for example, GTA 6 is strike exempt.
Right, yeah.
Not part of the strike.
I did think that was weird.
It's not struck work. Anything that was in development, does not matter what stage, prior to September 23rd of last year, is exempt from the strike.
See, I thought with the hot labor summer that we had, and the successes on the other strikes, that there would be this momentum that would carry forward into this. and who wants to have continuing headlines in your industry about labor relations when you can have less controversial or just more promotion of your product versus critique of the industry.
Yeah. So I would love for the strike to end quickly. I don't think it will. And I know that the actors are prepared to fight. I stand fully with the actors because I want to point out, like, we keep focusing on voice, but, like, for example, a lot of those voice actors aren't just voice actors anymore. Uh, yeah.
No, it is stunt performers as well, and that's one of the things I found fascinating about this NPR article. I also found it wild that if you're doing stunts, like, why wouldn't you have a medic on site? That just seems like what the fuck are we talking about here? Tell you what, you're going to do all this jumps and flips, and if you break your leg, we'll take you to urgent care. God knows how many miles away.
Yeah. So, okay, somebody should be. This feels weird. I don't know if I want to read this, or this is an odd one.
What,
I'm
Donnie's
gonna call
question thing?
It is, but I'm going to call an audible. I think Donnie should get in here, just for this.
Why? No.
Hey, we can handle it.
Let him enjoy his family.
I know we can. My point is that I'd love to hear him vocalize his thoughts on this instead of having to type it out.
We have
That's
a
what
show
Wednesday's for.
Okay. Anyways,
tell you what, I will join Wednesday if it makes you feel better. But still, no, I think we're good.
Yeah,
anyway, I know. I'm just throwing shit out there.
Yeah, go for it, Delvin. Read what Donnie had to say.
That's a good point. If the cost of game development are so high, and AI for voice, narrative, etc., can cut that cost, maybe the studios should hold firm. That would be the other side of the argument.
Yeah. So that was why I was like, let's call an audible and throw Donnie in, because, like, Donnie's not saying that that's what he supports. He's throwing out the other side of the argument, like he does.
Correct. Which is a fair point.
It is a fair point to make. Do I agree with it? I wouldn't say so, because a lot of like it's not even the actors asking for AI to not be included. They just want fair terms to understand it and whatnot. But there are situations for AI that I don't think would ever be okay. Like, here's the thing, right? I'm going to throw an odd one out. Grand Moff Tarkin. This is not video game related. As far as I know, I don't think I've seen Tarkin in a video game. But it is Star Wars.
I think he is in a game.
Is he?
He's in Lego, the Skywalker saga.
I think he was in... I can't remember which one it is. I want to say... It don't matter.
But the point I'm making is he's dead. Yeah, I know, Donnie. You're good. Okay. So he's dead. They've used him in films after he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing actors are very concerned about. Like, generally that would fall to the estate of the actor or actress, whoever. But sometimes studios will just pull an audible. They used Christopher Reeve in the Flash movie.
Very terribly, by the way.
Very terribly. And without the family's permission.
Yeah, it again, I think the whole idea of it being clear, understandable, and compensated is a fair ask. And I think they just kind of have to hammer it out, and it's good that they have the kind of power where they can have these kind of discussions and not just get railroaded about it. But AI is coming, like, whether we like it or not. And I think our biggest challenge right now is just setting up a structure. And we're not good at this as a people. Humans are very reactive versus proactive. And I think people are just trying to, like, figure out the boundaries before this thing just kind of gets away from us all. And you know, they've been joking about this for a long time. Like, I remember Family Guy or The Simpsons being like on a joke, or like, oh, we had AI create a hologram of John Wayne and now he's selling Petridge Farms, you know, or something like that. So I do understand the issues, but I don't see AI going away. And I like how on the labor side, their argument says, like, we're not saying ban AI. We're saying, like, we just want to understand it and we want to make sure everybody's fairly compensated. And And I think this is why we have labor unions. This is why we have businesses. You come to these things and you have a discussion about it, and hopefully it doesn't drag on and on and on. Because if it does become a long story, we are going to be talking about 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, like, oh, hey, how come we don't have this robust lineup of games, or we don't have stuff that's like fully voiced like we did. It could be because of a prolonged strike, and I hope that can be avoided and people are able to come to terms that everybody agrees on.
So yes, here's the other thing, right? So like all of that is perfectly said, and I do want to read Donnie's comment there because we put it on screen but we didn't say it. Like Donnie says, I only say that to offer you something else to discuss. Saying I stand with the voice actors is the easiest thing to say right now. There's a reason that the studios didn't agree to the SAG terms. Yes, there is a reason that the studios didn't agree to the SAG terms. Whatever that reason may be, there's always discussion on this, but I think the sticking point here, honestly, is just that AI, AI is coming, as Yarden says. Here's the thing. AI in its current format, we need to differentiate the types of AI because AI in video games has been a thing for years. What actors are talking about is generative AI, not the other form of AI. Which that's a whole other discussion, is the different types of AI. But they're talking about the kind where it just a learning algorithm takes their voice and it develops a whole dialogues tree on its own with that person's voice, and they didn't get paid for it, right? That's what actors want clear terms on, right? But yeah, the studios are going to push on that because they don't want to, this is the nature of the video game industry. I think Donnie's talked about this multiple times on PSPG, is that the industry is so secretive, and that's why leaks and rumors are so abound in this industry, is because, for example, if you right now go to the SAG website and try to determine what games are struck, you'll get games that aren't struck listed as struck because the database only contains code names, which only the actors or whatnot who are working on them have. The general public doesn't have that information because our industry is so secretive. A lot of projects, this isn't a game, but I'm going to use PlayStation code names their consoles, right? Like Trinity, Neo,
Yeah, no, they use that in addition to NDAs to keep the secrecy going.
Yes. That's part of what makes this strike so hard for people, is to know whether they're working on struck work. They have to have the code name, because a lot of that stuff, if you go type Alan Wake 2 in there right now, I believe it says struck work, but Alan Wake 2 is out. It's out. It's not struck work. It's the database only contains current stuff. I'm sure they're working on getting it fixed so it doesn't list struck work as non-struck work as struck, but it's so the industry is secretive. This is going to be a sticking point. Now, I again, as Donnie says, it is easy to say I support the actors, but I'm always maybe I'm naive, but I'm always going to side with the labor. I'm going to side with the actors. There's give them what they want. They obviously, developers do a lot of work, the writers do a lot of work, everybody comes together to make a product. But without the voice actors, you don't have audio for your game per se, or you don't have the motion capture, because most voice actors aren't just voice actors anymore. They all do motion capture now, basically. There are a rare case where they don't, but you understand what I'm saying, that these games don't come together as well as they have without those actors. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think this is all just part of the whole thing that we have dealing with the video game industry, in terms of the budget for these games is just bloated, over budget, and they're trying to find ways to cut costs, and AI is one of the ways they can use to cut costs, but is it going to be worth it in the long run? And I don't think it is, because some things AI can't duplicate. I think there's a lot of things that AI does very well in video gaming in general, but it's going to cause people jobs eventually.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
gonna be,
yeah,
it's gonna be,
yeah. Anytime you have a new technology show up, you're going to have winners and losers. And if it's something that actually like lowers the amount of people you need to get the job done, absolutely. But I don't think the cat's out of the bag, the toothpaste is out of the tube. Like AI is
yeah,
coming, and I
it's
think it's
coming.
important that we have these kind of conversations and that people stand up for themselves and create like a baseline set of principles or rules to utilize. Because if we like I'm like if labor doesn't like step up and say something now, like by the time this technology is implemented, it could be too late.
Yeah,
And I do think studios have every right to look into new tools. And like for example, like I use Excel and spell check all the time for my day job, and formula check and all these other things that didn't exist before when people were doing
Yeah.
finances on a general ledger with an adding machine. So unfortunately there will be winners and losers as new technology develops. But what I like from this article and what gives me hope in general with all the strikes that we've had is that hopefully we're having a more collective conversation with people who are in the industry.
what happened?
I don't know what happened.
There you go.
What?
And we're back.
What the hell?
It gave search the full screen experience.
I guess.
We don't need that.
Yeah. It's
Gonna be really
don't know.
interesting to say the least.
yes.
Yeah,
just-
we'll see how this plays out, because this is
Yeah.
not the end of the conversation. This is just the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a lot more conversation about this.
Yeah.
All right,
Questions?
let's get to these questions then before the computer blows up. All right, question 1 from Nick Turbo.
Yes.
What settings would you like to see for future Assassin's Creed games? Can't use Japan anymore.
Well, Japan's coming in a couple months, so yeah.
That was the one you always said, Japan. Yeah, so.
I think like World War II would be great. We've done American Revolution already, but like we could. They could make up a bunch of stuff. Like it's historical fiction, so like it needs to be in a place. But like, I'm just thinking of ones we could do, right? Like anywhere in South America would be
That's what I was
cool.
going to say. South Africa. That's my answer.
There you go. Yeah, I think the last time we got this question, I said Aztecs, which I still think would be neat. But now now that my brain is going, I'm thinking like, I wonder if there's a way to do like Game of Thrones Westeros, or like the Klingon Empire before they were spacefaring. For Star Trek, they get like a licensing deal with Star Trek. I know that's pie in the sky, blah blah.
Well,
blah.
no.
It's
funny you mentioned that though, because I was gonna say they could also do the War of the Americas, which I think Delvin's the only one here who gets that reference.
I don't get that reference either, but I was wondering like if there's a way they could like kind of go more sci-fi with it, because they've I mean how Vietnam
That'd be a
during
good
the
one.
American War, yeah, that could be a different twist to the franchise.
Anyways, the War of the Americas is a DC Comics reference to Earth 2.
Oh, okay.
Industrial Revolution America would be good. They've done Industrial Revolution London, so New York, Chicago. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, the Cold War.
Have they done World War One yet?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda.
Kind of. So here's like to answer that for you, Snoots. So in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, the Animus is essentially like glitching through half the game. Not in the way that it was in Unity, because in Unity you end up in a full sequence sometimes where
that was the game actually glitching in Unity.
Sure, but I'm actually talking about the scripted segments where like, 1 second you're Arno in Paris, but then now you're in medieval London, or now you're in like Paris having to climb the Eiffel Tower and shoot at a World War, I think it's 1, but it might be 2.
Okay.
Plane attacking you. Those were like scripted, and they were like 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Where, like,
I thought y'all mentioned something like that. Now that I think
but
about
then
it,
in Syndicate they do it again, but differently. It's a glitch in the Thames River, where on one of the barges is an actual Animus glitch, which when you go through, you play as a descendant of Evie Fry, who is, it's like just after World War One, like not just after World War One, sorry, like it's just before World War Two, like really kicks off. London. Yeah, that's when I say World War Two, Nazi Germany would be great for it.
Yeah, it would be, because nobody cares about Nazis.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but also I want to point out that like that was actually referenced that like Hitler had a piece of Eden in Assassin's Creed 2. So like that'd be a good thread to follow up on.
Have they done China? Have they done ancient China? Could be fun too.
They did China, but it was
a side scroller game. Yeah,
side scroller game. All right.
They did Russia too, side scroller, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then there was another one that was side scroller as well. I think they did. It was with Shadow, right?
Shadow the Hedgehog?
No, Shadow the Assassin, like Shado. Yeah. All
right. I'm trying to think of what else.
There's when Donnie said the Mexican Revolution, I instantly thought, yeah, that's Far Cry.
Escape from New York. Instead of Sake Pliston, you are an assassin.
Still like it. Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty about Assassin's Creed is like you can literally plug and play just about anything, and it could potentially work.
Yeah.
You know, Caveman and Dinosaurs Yard, and that was called Far Cry Primal, I believe.
No dinosaurs. Caveman, yes.
Now that would be interesting. The Wild West America Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Sure.
I like that.
What if your trainer is Zorro, a Zorro-like figure, right? And he's on his way out, and then you take the reins, but instead of it being like the masked guy, it's just an assassin. Same storyline, early America or like early California, where the white people showed up, but like the Spanish Empire was still there. Yes. That could have some fun tidbits to it.
Hey, Snurts, pronounce the full name of Los Angeles right now.
Los Angeles?
You know that's not the full name of Los Angeles.
No one knows the full name of Los Angeles.
When I put stuff on my return address label, it says Los Angeles.
Yeah, I know, but if you actually look up the full length name of Los Angeles, it's like 6 words.
Yeah, I mean, I also don't know the full name of General Santa Ana. Like,
I know.
Spanish people love their long names.
It was just very, very, very funny to hear you go Los Angeles before the white people showed up.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is a general critique I have, but this is not a history podcast, and I know. You almost triggered me. I'm almost like, well, like
All right. Our next question from Smoking Joe: what PlayStation has the best game catalog?
I swear we answered this on our last.
Yeah,
podcast.
I want to say we've answered this one, but I'm just gonna go PS4.
Yeah, that's what I said too. Yeah. What was yours, Delvin?
PS3.
PS3. There you go.
All the Uncharted games, The Last of Us. It's a lot of great stuff on PS3.
Nice.
Yeah.
Persona 4. No, Persona 5? Yeah, Persona 5's on there. I think Persona 4 and 5's on PS3.
Persona 5 on PS3? I'm going to double check that.
That was one of the last PS3 games.
Nice.
Persona 5 PS3. Yep, you are correct.
Yeah.
It was released for PlayStation 3 in September 2016 in Japan.
I didn't want to cheat because Donnie said the good point that PS4 has the best version of all those games. I agree. Yep. But I was trying to pick the console that just had the games that the games came out on, as opposed to like cheating, like because then if we're gonna cheat, then I'm like PS5 then.
I mean, if we're gonna do that, but like I mean, it's totally fair because a lot of the games that I like are the Uncharted. They're the Infamous. They're whatnot, right? Which, by the way, Sony, where's my goddamn fucking Infamous port? Give it to me.
Yeah, and for me, I personally, as someone who jumped from 360 to PS4, like I don't really have an experience with the PS1 through 3 as much. It's very
PS3 is really good.
Random. But yeah, the PS4 is still my answer on that one.
GTA 5.
GTA 5's on everything.
Well, okay, but it released on PS3. Delvin is not wrong.
It did?
Okay.
It
originally released on PS3.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That long ago,
yeah. Oh my god.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
That game, GTA 5 and Skyrim are the ones that just keep coming back.
See, Skyrim's funny though, because Skyrim gets like a re-release every other year, basically. Yeah. But GTA 5 just keeps earning, like it's like one of the
I think that's the difference with their multiplayer aspect of everything. It keeps that a little bit different, but it just cracks me up that like these games since 2011 or something like that have just been like re-release, renew edition.
Skyrim was
whatever.
2011 and GTA 5 was 2013.
Yeah.
Not too bad. My stoner memory is actually kind of working sometimes.
Yeah. All right. This is the final question right here? Oh, that's right. Final countdown, babe.
It should be because we answered Terps already. So
the final question.
The final question. Hambone Johnny. Ask us the final question. Are you going back for the Elden Ring PS4 Platinum?
No, doing that once on PS5 was enough. I do not have the intention of downloading the PS4 version and getting all of the achievements there. No.
You could be at 55.
Okay, but I could also get 55 through any of the other games releasing this year. Or any of the other games that I have on my console right now. Like, I don't have to do Elden Ring again.
The answer is no. Absolutely not.